I think what's interesting to note about the fintech industry is where we serve, we've broken it up into a lot of different segments. And so we have product producers that maybe have mutual funds, we have individual investors, you have wealth advisors, you have broker dealers. So all of these different audiences have different needs. And so we're able to focus in various AI and ML techniques for each one of them. Now, my role is to focus on wealth advisors. So we're using AI and ML to really make relationships personal and more personalized and more efficient. So the challenge, right, has been there's lots and lots of people that need wealth advice, but you can't service them all and you can't know enough about them. So helping make that a more personal piece, using AI to enhance that, because at the end of the day, it's a relationship between me and you, Ramu, and I want you to have the best relationship. That's probably not going to come from an AI, but that AI can help me build that relationship with you. At the other end of the spectrum, we're using AI to do things like read disparate private documents that may be around investments for these privately held companies, and then across those private documents say, what are the things that they have in common, and how can I compare company A to company B, to know which one I want to do business with, or I want to acquire, or invest in, because maybe they measure success differently. So we use AI to kind of help grab that, normalize that data, and then analyze it across all these disparate documents.
The name of the game maybe even 10 years ago was how do you kind of get the data out of your databases and all that and present it in a meaningful, quick Excel format that your clients could use. And we went to all sorts of trouble to create massive filters and all that, and spent a significant amount of time developing those kind of features into our applications. What I think has really shifted is maybe all these filters aren't as important anymore, because the AIs can actually, even on the client side, on the personal side, can distill all this information, similar to kind of in the vein of what Sonny just said. So that has really changed. This distillation of data is happening much, much quicker, much easier, I think, actually, even for the layman these days, on both, back-end applications, but also then on the front-end side, or even let your clients do it themselves. And so I think that's really kind of triggered kind of a big change in thought on how to, provide information that is actually a little bit more even easier to distill, and a little bit more flexible to distill for certain applications.
Yeah, so almost every answer I give can come from two different lenses. One can be from consulting, sort of running a consulting firm where you're servicing a large organization and a lot of different client base. But I think the most helpful place to answer this question is a common thread that we've seen in multiple clients in really unlike industries. And that is scenario planning, meaning being able to, whether you're doing workforce scheduling, or whether it's basically trying to figure out if you have a parts system that you're trying to figure out when a part is going to actually stop working, that you can run multiple different scenarios and predict with some pretty good accuracy about what outcome would give you the best results. And a lot of times those outcomes, when you actually go through and implement them, the outcomes of what we predicted versus what actually happens, and we have another question in here when you were talking about specific ones, they match up pretty well. And the other area is the personalization for customers. I come from a product background. You build products because you want to delight the customer, and the whole game has been, figure out what they want and figure out how to delight them, right? That's basically the product marketing segment. And in this, it's basically, again, scenario planning as far as what is the best next move for this particular client based on their patterns or based on their behaviors. what is the best way, best channel to reach them? What is the most effective messaging? And those have had some remarkable results when you actually let the, use the predictive, truly predictive modeling of LLMs to sort of guide you. Yes. So for, again, use a couple of the cases with a couple of our clients. One of them was for a small engine manufacturer, and when we're basically predicting, forecasting sales as far as, again, their target audience and when was the right time to approach them in order to be able to improve, and we the results were about 30% improvement on that. The workforce optimization, when I mentioned we had an income, actual revenue income improvement by 8.4%. And the other one that has been really interesting to me, and I probably in other answers I will get into, in that a call center seems to be, because a kind of a natural place for people to be thinking about using AI. And again, we've been using automated response in call center for a long time. But what I find sort of interesting with AI is that we have a product called Voice of the Customer, and it's not taking the place of the customer representatives, is really an augmentation. So it's really to look at the sentiment and the you can even sort of figure out, as far as when people are calling and talking, be able to gauge their level of engagement, their level of dissatisfaction or satisfaction. And we did this for a streaming network, and when they do very regular customer satisfaction surveys, and there was a 9% increase in customer satisfaction and 176% increase in their subscription. So that's a really good place where you're using AI as an augmentation tool to really upskill a function you already have, but really scale it up.
Yeah, and so one of the things, first of all, I think we are right now, human in the loop is really important to us, because we need a real ground truth to help train even better than we are. We can't rely on large language models. And so we're actually experimenting with things like smaller models that are more finely grained and focused on what we are trying to do, as opposed to a large language model. I also think, look, there's a lot of great data scientists out there. Richard's been one of them, and you could fine tune these algorithms, and you could spend all of your time gaining a 0.5% or a 1% accuracy. I think if you improve the quality of your data and the relevancy of your data, you might see 30, 40, 50, 60, 100% improvements in what you're doing. So, AI is a data product. And so I think sometimes we jump on the algorithm side and maybe miss out on the data side. And so we're looking at improving the quality of our data, as well as having a human in the loop to validate what we're doing right now. But eventually the scale is that it's human on the loop.
Maybe from a little bit higher level, and I agree with everybody's thoughts here, my 5 cents on it will be, we are seeing even today that different executives have different knowledge of terms of what AI does. I mean, from the very basics that one as a leader or an executive needs to understand, it's probabilistic, right? It's never going to give you the same answer twice.
Absolutely.
And that can be a little bit of a problem based, or make some executives feel very uncomfortable, kind of thing. This is not a simple linear regression, and now we won't know what's going to come out the other end, kind of thing. And one sometimes needs to make sure that that is quite clear when we start making decisions based on AI outputs, and that executives are holding the bag. They're the ones responsible when they bring it up on a slide, and that it's sometimes quite difficult to reproduce and get to the same result, or sometimes you even get different results, which is even worse for many executives. So I think it's a little tricky still to this day. I mean, this stuff is new, right? Nobody has the 10,000 hours yet, right, to make them an expert in this field, to quote
I'm
Malcolm
sure you will
Gladwell,
find somebody else.
so so it's still sometimes I feel like I'm almost talking myself out of a job where I say, you understand that this is AI, and this is not math. Well, it is math, but not necessarily a deterministic output. It's a probabilistic output, and you have to be okay with that. And so the choice of words you use and how you present information on even a slide deck at a board meeting is different, has to be more open-ended. This is where we're going, but we're not, 100% sure. So.